أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, welcome to JemeilTv. Today we will study the overview of Surah At-Tukasur, meaning competition in increase. Let us start from its introduction. There are 8 verses in this surah and it is at 102 in the compilation of Holy Quran. The surah talks about the evil consequences of materialism and this worldliness, how its name was taken. The surah taken its name from the word at-tukasur in the first verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألهاكم التكاثر. Competition in worldly increase diverts you. Connection of the name of the surah and its ayat. The reason for the destruction of the human is distraction from what is of most paramount importance, the afterlife. Period of revelation. Abu Hayyan and Shawkani say that this surah, according to all commentators, is Makki, and this same is the well-known view according to Imam Sayyuti. However, there are some traditions on the basis of which it is considered a Madani surah, and they are as follows. Ibn Abi Hatim has cited Abu Buraida as saying that this surah was sent down concerning the two tribes, Bani Harisa and Bani al Haris of the Ansar. The two tribes had first recounted the glories and illustrious deeds of their living men. Then they had gone to the graveyard and bragged of the glorious deeds of their dead. Thereupon the divine revelation, Al-Hakum Takasur, came down. But if the practice of the companions and their successors concerning the occasions of revelation is kept in view, this tradition is no argument to prove that Surah At-Tukasir was sent down on that very occasion, but it shows that this surah fully applied to the act of the two tribes. Imam Bukhari and Ibn Jarir have cited this view of Hazrat Ubay bin Ka'b, who took the Holy Prophet ﷺ saying, if the son of Adam had two valleys full of wealth, he would long for a third valley. The son of Adam's belly cannot be filled but by earth to be from the Quran until Al-Hakum al-Takasur was sent down. This hadith has been regarded as an argument for Surah At-Tukasur to be a Madani surah on the ground that Hazrat Ubay had become a Muslim in Medina. But Hazrat Ubay's this statement does not indicate in what sense the companions regarded this saying of the Holy Prophet ﷺ as belonging to the Quran, if it means that they regarded it as a verse of the Quran. It cannot be acceptable for a great majority of the companions consisted of the men who were well aware of each and every word of the Quran. They could not have the misunderstanding that the hadith was a verse of the Quran, and if its belonging to the Quran is taken to mean its being derived from the Quran, the tradition can also mean that when the companions who entered Islam in Medina heard this surah for the first time from the Holy Prophet ﷺ, they thought that it had been revealed just then. And then about the Holy Prophet ﷺ's above saying, they formed the idea that it was derived from this very surah. Ibn Jarir, Tirmidhi, Ibn al-Munzir, and other traditionists have related this view of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. We were in doubt about the torment of the grave until Al-Hakum al-Takasur was sent down. This view has been regarded as an argument for Surah Takasur to be Madani on the ground that the torment of the grave was first mentioned at Medina. No mention of it was ever made at Mecca. But this is wrong. In the Makki surahs of the Quran, the torment of the grave has been mentioned at many places so clearly that there can be no room for any such doubt. For example, see Al-An'am 93, Al-Nahl 28, Al-Mu'minun 99, 100, Al-Mu'min 45 and 46, which are all Makki surahs. Therefore, if anything is proved by Hazrat Ali saying it is that Surah At-Takasur had been revealed before the revelation of the above mentioned Makki surahs, and its revelation had removed the companions' doubt about the torment of the grave. That is why, in spite of these traditions, a great majority of the commentators are agreed that this surah is Makki. In our opinion, this is not only a Makki surah, but in view of its contents and style, it is one of the earliest surahs to be revealed at Makkah. Theme and subject matter of the surah: in it, the people have been warned of the evil consequences of world worship, because of which they spend their lives in acquiring more and more of worldly wealth, material benefit and pleasures, and position and power till death, and in vying with one another and bragging and boasting about their acquisitions. This one pursuit has so occupied them that they are left with no time or opportunity for pursuing the higher things in life. After warning the people of its evil end, they have been told as if to say, these blessings which you are amassing and enjoying thoughtlessly are not mere blessing but are also a means of your trial. For each one of these blessings and comforts you will surely be called to account in the hereafter. This surah has a rhythm that is both majestic and awe inspiring, as if it were the voice of a warner standing on a high place, projecting his voice as it rings out in weighty emphasis. He calls out the people who are drowsy, drunken, confused. They approach a precipice with their eyes closed and their feelings numbed. So the warner increases the volume of his voice to the limit. You are preoccupied by greed for more and more until you go down to your grave. Verses 1 and 2. You drunken and confused lot, you who take delight and indulge in rivalry for wealth, children, and pleasure of this life, from which you are sure to depart. You who are absorbed with what you have, unaware of what comes afterwards. You who will leave the object of this rivalry and what you seek pride in, and go to a narrow hole where there is no rivalry or pride. Wake up and look around all of you, for indeed you are preoccupied by greed for more and more until you go down to your graves. Verses 1 and 2. With a deep and grave rhythm, the surah then strikes their hearts with the terror awaiting them after they are left in their graves. Nay, in time you will come to know. Verse 3. Then it repeats the same note, implying the same words and the same firm and terrifying rhythm. Again, in time you will come to know. Verse 4. Then it adds to the depth and awe of this assurance and hints at the grave prospect that lies beyond, the terrifying essence of which they don't recognize in the flush of intoxication and rivalry for worldly riches. Indeed, were you to know the truth with certainty. Verse 5, the conditional sentence is not completed in the text. This is acceptable as a refined form of Arabic. It adds to the feelings of awe generated by the surah. The inference here is that had they known what they should know for certain, they would not have indulged in such a rivalry for petty gain. The surah then discloses the fearful fact which has been withheld. You would most certainly see the fire of hell. Verse 6. It then emphasizes this fact and enhances its impact on people's heart. Again, you will most certainly see it with your very eyes. Verse 7. Finally, it puts the last statement which makes the drunkard sober, the lethargic conscious, the confused attentive, and the self indulgent tremble and feel apprehension at his indulgence in comfort and pleasure. Then on that day you will certainly be questioned about your joys and comforts. Verse 8. You will be questioned concerning all this. How did you get it? How did you dispense with it? Was it obtained from a lawful source and dispensed with lawfully? Or was it gained unlawfully and used in a sinful manner? Have you praised and thanked God for it? Have you given the poor their due? Have you spent some of it on others, or monopolized it all for yourself? You will be questioned about your rivalry in gathering and amassing wealth and about what you take pride in. It is a burden which you, in your preoccupation and enjoyment, think little of, but beyond it lie heavy responsibilities. This is a self expressing surah. It leaves its impact on us by its meaning and rhythm. It leaves the heart occupied, burdened with the problem of the hereafter, inattentive to the trivialities of this worldly life and its petty concern. It portrays the life of this world as a fleeting wink in the long span of existence. You are preoccupied by greed for more and more until you go down to your graves. Verses 1 to 3 refer. The wink of this life is over and its small leaf turned. Thereafter, time stretches on and the burdens become heavier. The style of the surah presents this inference, achieving harmony between the actual reality and its manner of expression. Whenever we read this awe inspiring and majestic surah, we feel its rhythm traveling upward in space at the beginning and downward to the deep, deep level at the end. We feel the burden of this wing of a life on our shoulder as we walk heavily along the road. Then we start questioning ourselves about the smallest and most trivial of our deeds.